What's this? Well, to be honest with you, the moment I decided to come up with this as a triforce, a trifecta, as we should say, of PlayStation characters that I adore, it just got me too excited to make it, so I just had to jump straight on with making it. Don't worry, I did give you the Hellraiser Never Seen, which was interesting. This is it. This is the third character for PlayStation. And as a kid that grew up with PlayStation, this is actually my second favourite game of PlayStation. Number one being Crash Bandicoot. This character, this game series, for me, beats Spyro the Dragon. I'm not making shit up. Which is why, my name is Ash Lynch, and this is the brief history of Sir Daniel Fortesque. So, let's start at the beginning. You see, in Medieval, Sir Dan is a legend amongst the history books of Gallowmere, but when it comes to the dead, not so much.
Fortesque, you jawless arrow magnet.
Why, I'd sooner go into battle holding a tea tray than carry that weedy Gale's shield of his. I bet money you'll be back pushing audacious by now.
You see, Sir Daniel Fortesque was the King's champion, and as King's champion, he was the first to lead the army against the evil Zarok. So, at the end of the battle, when Fortesque's army won, Daniel Fortesque was crowned this brave hero amongst the history books of Gallowmere. Well, actually, you see, at the Battle of Gallowmere against the Sorcerer Zarok, the King's champion was actually struck down by the very first arrow fired. And because of this, Sir Dan has never been honoured by the dead in the Hall of Heroes. But on Zarok's return, casting a spell that will take the souls of all the inhabitants of Gallowmere, bringing up the dead and creating nightmarish monsters, it also resurrects Sir Daniel Fortesque. Has only one goal, which is to avenge his death, save Gallowmere, and to finally be accepted as a true hero. First of all, good game, good story, I like it. Second of all, Zarok's a he. Am I the only one that thought Zarok was a woman? No matter what happened in the opening story or the opening monologue, I always thought Zarok was a woman, because look at him. Just look. And yes, I said this is a great game, which it is. I might be a bit biased in saying that, but this is my channel. You either back off or square up, motherfucker. In the end of the game, though, you must face off against Zarok's army, his champion. If you choose a champion, this is your mightiest warrior, this is the grandest champion, this is the best of the best. Someone that's been with Zarok for years upon years upon years, and once Sir Daniel Fortesque beats him, you'd think Zarok would take that a little bad.
Bugger.
Never mind. But at least Zarok has a backup plan.
None shall defeat the mighty Zarok. Buck, 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 buck.
There's no words. But when you beat that, and you get 100% completion of the game by collecting chalices after either defeating enemies or saving the innocent, you are now praised in the Hall of Heroes. A huge celebration is thrown in the honour of Sir Daniel Fortesque finally being the hero he was always meant to be, saving Gallowmere and being honoured in the Hall of Heroes before finally laying to rest again. This isn't like a straight up narrative of the game. You have to go back on yourself. You have to go back to previous levels, even if you've got the chalice in that level, to collect something to then beat a mini level in a different stage of the game. It all works. As long as you're going for 100% completion, it is completely worth it. Even if you're not going for 100% completion and you just want to finish the story, it's so fun. It's just fun. It is. But Sir Daniel Fortesque, he can't rest for long. You see, in Medieval 2, hold up, we didn't see Sir Daniel Fortesque in Medieval 2. Not until the year 2000. We're still in the 90s. So let me ask you a question. In which game do you think a knight, a skeleton, would appear in? Did you say everybody's golf too? Because that's what I said, isn't it? Turns out he's actually an unlockable character. You can get a lot of other PlayStation characters in Everybody's Golf 2, and he's just one of them. So on to Medieval 2. It has been 500 years since the events of the first game. Dan's now on display in a museum, and the pages of Zarok's spellbook have been lost. Except for a few. Because our new villain, Lord Palethorn. Lord Palethorn? That's a white dick. Lord Palethorn has collected a few of the pages from Zarok's spellbook and has cast a spell of eternal darkness over London. He still requires the final pages to take full control over the nightmarish monsters he has created, but with this spell, he has brought Sir Dan back from the grave again. Someone just leave Dan alone. With the help from Professor Hamilton Kift, his ghost sidekick Winston, and along the way, they are helped by an ancient mummified princess called Kia. Not the car. Sir Daniel Fortesque's goal is set in front of him to stop Lord Palethorn from collecting those pages and taking over the world with his nightmarish creatures and whatever the fuck he's become. However, Sir Daniel Fortesque has his eye on Kia. Which is a bit of a problem because he only has one eye, and if he has one eye on Kia, well, what else is he looking at? He's not looking at the dangers over here. So Dan, pay attention. But just like many other games coming out of this time, there's a 100% completion ending, and there's a normal standard if you don't complete the entire game ending. But this one's confusing for me. You see, if you don't complete the game 100%, you still beat Lord Palethorn, but Sir Daniel Fortesque and Kia decide to share their eternal rest with each other. That's a very nice happy ending, isn't it? Well, when you get 100% completion of the game, you beat Lord Palethorn, but the time machine reappears. There's a time machine in this game, don't you know? The time machine reappears and Sir Daniel Fortesque and Kia take a travel through time, landing at an alternate version of Zarok's lair, where they will now have to face against the monster thing you faced in the first game, but this time Palethorn has replaced Zarok, and I don't understand how this is a better ending than just going to sleep. It's really confusing because whether or not they're teasing, oh, the game's gonna be another one, we've already banked it, there's going to be a third Medieval. Our hero does not get to rest. He has to now go back to fighting again. He's landed himself in trouble, and he now has to find a way to get out of it. I don't see how that's a better ending than going to kip with your missus. But would we see a Medieval 3? No. Instead what we'd get is Medieval Resurrection, which came on the PSP, a console my brothers and that own, but I just stayed away from it because... And Medieval Resurrection is basically what's happening with the Oddworld inhabitants at the moment. It is pretty much the original story, just reimagined. Dan, Zarok, just with a little extra. Because if you look at the Oddworld inhabitants stuff with Abe's Exodus and Abe's Odyssey, the new games, Abe, New and Tasty, and then you've got Abe's Exodus, you got Abe's Soulstorm. You know, it's you know, it's the same games, but there's more, so there's more for your money. But in a time where Super Smash Bros. Melee takes over the world, PlayStation think, do you know what, we've got enough characters, we could do something like that. What they forget is a lot of their characters that made the PlayStation what it is are now owned by other companies and are on more consoles. So they create PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale without some of the most iconic characters, most notably Spyro or Crash. But they do have Sir Daniel Fortesque though. You see, Battle Royale is a combat-based game featuring some of the classic PlayStation characters. It's basically Smash Bros. Melee, but... I mean, if you want to talk about story, the actual story of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is that an old mascot for PlayStation, the diamondy glassy guy, is pissed because he's no longer the mascot of PlayStation. He was just short-lived, so he's back to get revenge on all the other mascots. And yeah, I mean, you do get some of the legends. You get like Nathan Drake from PlayStation's Uncharted and that. You do get Parappa the Rapper, But when it comes to Daniel Fortesque, he's quite possibly the worst character to play as in the game. Abilities as a knight, as a warrior, as a hero, and he has the worst offense in the entire game. Let me put it like this, he has worse offense than Fat Princess. When you have a knight in shining armor losing to a fat princess, you've got a problem. We deserve better. Dan deserves better. Which is why, when Crash and Spyro were getting their trilogies brought back, the same man that gave us the Insane Trilogy announcement, he also announced...
Greetings, Sir Daniel Fortesque.
Medieval would be back on the PlayStation 4. It would be a redoing of the original game, not the resurrection, the full original game brought up for the PlayStation 4, whereas Medieval 2, if you're going to release that in a couple of years, just let me know so I can get my hype up, because I really want to play Medieval 2. I would absolutely adore that. But we got PlayStation 4 version of Medieval, and I couldn't be happier. So yeah, just get on with Medieval 2, please. But when it comes to Sir Daniel Fortesque, I adore his character. It's the same principle. For me, when it came to Tim Burton and films, I would watch normal films and like, okay, they're all pretty much the same and they're boring. And then you watch Beetlejuice and you go, what is this? This is awesome. It was pretty much the same thing with Medieval and the rest of the PlayStation games. When you've got Spyro, you've got Crash, you've got Parappa the Rapper, you've got all those bright, colourful characters, and then they come out with Medieval and you're playing as a zombie skeleton knight, and it's still cartoonish. It is Burton-esque to fuck. But when I was setting up to make this video, I decided to put on my Hunger Club Crash Bandicoot shirt, and it remembered that the guys over at Hunger Club actually sent me a Sir Daniel Fortesque sticker, and that's awesome. Thank you. Sir Daniel Fortesque means the world to me. As I said, he's my second favourite character in PlayStation, my second favourite game to play in history. What did you think of this brief history of Sir Daniel Fortesque? This trifecta is done, but there are other PlayStation characters I might be able to get to. There are other characters just in general. Should I get back to the horror characters? Should I start getting a bit more fantasy? Should I get any other genre or franchise involved? What do you think? Make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe, because you're never going to miss a brief history. Because my name is ALynchMedia, and this was the brief history of Sir Daniel Fortesque and Medieval. So Dan, sign us off. Never mind.